Welcome back to the CryptoLabs Passive Income YouTube channel. We're going to keep talking about liquidity pools. I posted a video yesterday. If you haven't yet checked that out, this would be like part 1. I will put a link to that video somewhere up here. Definitely do check it out. It's 14 minutes, but it sets the groundwork. It sets the foundations for concentrated liquidity. And something we need to understand when it comes to concentrated liquidity is impermanent loss. So let's say you want to put your SOL to work. Your Solana to work, you want to make around 145%. It was actually 300% when there was more volume going. Let's say you want to put your ETH USDC at work. Let's say you want to put your, let's just go on DeFi Llama and let's just have a look at APYs and let's just do anything with a TVL of at least, I'm going to go 500,000 just to play on the edge a little bit. Sometimes the TVL, it is important. It's not always the most important. You want to make sure you're on trusted platforms. So let's just have some fun here. I'm in some Uniswap V3 pools here with some assets that I wouldn't touch. There's some V2 pools, which are obviously full range pools. Orca's got some really good pools. USDC Pyth, they got $1 million in there, almost 1% per day. Bonk USDC, Bonk just went crazy. It is a meme coin on Solana that was like, I don't think it was the first. Maybe it was. Don't quote me on this. I'm not a meme coin guy, but it just blew up. And some of the returns on Orca were crazy. We can go on Sushi Swaps. We can go Radiums. Radiums has some awesome stuff. Osmosis has some awesome stuff. USDC and Osmo. Uniswap V3s. We pretty much stick to just Uniswaps. I do play with Pancake Swap. I mean, there's almost 0.5% per day with USDT and wrapped BNB on Pancake Swap. That's a pretty damn good return. That's near ROI Dapps type stuff. But what about impermanent loss? What does it mean? And I think the easiest way that I know how to explain it is just to show you. There's impermanent loss calculators. If you have a token price of, let's just say $100, so you're in a token that's worth $100, and then you've got token B, which is a stable coin of $1. If the price fluctuates, and let's just say token A goes to $110 within the pool, and token B stays at $1, what does that mean? So the price of one of the assets went up, but you were in a liquidity pool. Your impermanent loss is 0.11%. So if you had $500 of token A, which means 5 tokens, and you had $500 of token B, which is 500 of those tokens to make $1,000, you would have had $1,050 if you held it. So here's where that impermanent loss comes in. You would have had $1,050 if you would have just held the token by itself, not been in a liquidity pool, but you experienced some impermanent loss. You haven't lost, you just didn't make as much as if you would have just held it. And so for this instance with $1,000, you now have 4.77 of token A and 524 tokens of token B because the liquidity pool, your allocation has gently shifted. Now you have 1,000, your liquidity that was 1,000 is now worth 1,048. So you're $1.20 behind where you could be. That's impermanent loss. Let me know in the comments if this is making sense. I can keep making this kind of content because I love this. So it's not like you lost money. You just didn't make as much as you could have because you were pegged with a stable coin or you were in a liquidity pool with a stable coin. Let me know if that makes sense. We'll keep moving on. And you can play with this calculator. It makes sense once you type it in a little bit. What if you were in a token A was worth 100 and you went into a correlated pair because you were a little bit bullish on the market. So you did something that was correlated. We did a video on correlations a couple days ago. I'll put a link for it up here. It's actually within this YouTube channel here. It will be this video here. I will put a link for it. Liquidity pools, yield farming, and it's about studying correlated pairs. So highly recommend checking that out. Let's just say the price of each asset goes up by 10%. So token A pumps 10%, and token B, because it's correlated, also goes up 10%. Your impermanent loss would be $0. You did not lose any money. So if you would have held, it's worth $1,100. If you would have been a liquidity pool, it's worth $1,100, but you're also making 0.2, 0.3, 0.5, 0.8%, depending how tight your range is. And so the game we play with providing liquidity is to outpace impermanent loss. with the returns we make. And so typically we don't get into pools that are like 20%, unless it's like a full range liquidity pool and we're holding this stuff forever. Like maybe fine, it's worth exploring. But if we want to make higher yields, we pick pairs that are either correlated or they're not, based upon the market conditions and where we think the market is going. And sometimes if you're a little more active, it's better to, if things are looking very bearish, to actually at times just hold stables, let the bearish pass, and get back in. Now, there's also tricks you can play with setting ranges. If you go out of range, you don't have to auto balance everything, rebalance everything. You can just move the range up close to where the range is at now and not suffer any, you don't have to lock in your losses, and things can get back into range. Now, we're talking a little bit more advanced strategies here, which of course inside the UIG, if you ever feel called to joining, we're always exploring pools. We've got education, we've got TA, we've got different pools we explore. This is a BNB CAS pool. We do TA around the different assets. And I mean, it is the best group in DeFi if you want to be an investor, not a gambler, if you want to take this stuff seriously. And we can play with this all day long. What if the price went down? You're holding a $100 token and a $1 token, and that goes down by about 10%. So you're at $90 token A, $1 token B. Same thing. If you would have held, you'd be around $950. Because you were providing liquidity, you're at $948. And so I think people stress about impermanent loss a lot because they don't understand it. But even if a token swings by 10%, now, of course, it depends how you structure your liquidity pool, but even if a token swings by 10% in this example, of course, the impermanent loss, it's not massive. Now, again, there's fine print around that depending the ranges you set and the kind of assets you get into. But what I'm getting at is your earnings can outpace it. Maybe not always on a daily basis. That's why we don't track earnings on a daily basis. I like to look at things monthly. Did I make my 10, 12, 15% goal this month? Some months I make 8%, some months it's 14%. Some months I'm a little more in my bull run portfolio because things are pumping and I just want to ride the appreciation of it. Sometimes I'm in more stable, sometimes I'm in more liquidity pools. I can shift things around because you've got full liquidity. You have instant liquidity. You can take out your liquidity. And what I mean by that is you can exit your positions at any moment. You're never held hostage with your capital, unlike ROI Dapps or centralized type plays that offer you a daily percentage. You're in full control and you can pull different levers for different strategies and play the game how you want to play the game, how you see the game, and you're in more control. That's true DeFi. And so impermanent loss is nothing to be afraid of, but it's something to be aware of and it's something to understand. Nothing to be afraid of. That is part of the game when you're providing liquidity. But again, you want to find pools that will outpace impermanent loss. That's really that. I hope this quick little short video helped in some way, shape, or form. Highly recommend checking out this video here. Just go on the YouTube channel, check out this video here, check out this video here, and check out this video here, these three. And I'll put links for them above. They'll be in the play bar here somewhere up there. Definitely check them out and study them. Really, really worth your time. In fact, I mean, check out any of these videos, but I think those three would be pretty relevant to the video we shared here. And then check out Impermanent Loss Calculator. You can just basically Google it and do a basic study of it. I of course, simplified it, but there's no need always to know the math behind it. I'm more of I learn by doing. And so jump into the calculator, play with some variables. Hey, I want to do USDC BNB, but what if BNB goes here price-wise? And what if it goes here? And if I just held versus if I just made, then you can know. You're like, oh, okay. If the price of the asset goes to 110, I just have to make more than 0.11%. Oh, shoot, this thing's paying me 0.3%. Okay, you know what? This is a good pick. And now you can outpace potential impermanent loss. And of course, I don't want to get too technical here. If you want more content like this, just let me know because I can flow all day. But, you can also, just like if you're holding Bitcoin and the price is $50,000 on Bitcoin, you haven't made any money until you lock it in. But if the price of Bitcoin is 20 grand, you also haven't lost any money until you lock it in. The same is true for impermanent loss. on paper, you might be at a loss or you might be seeing some impermanent loss, but that can fluctuate. And until you actually exit the liquidity pool, you haven't locked anything in. And so liquidity providing and becoming a market maker is a long-term play for the most part. There are some pools we'll get into that are paying 3,000%. That's just like a 7-day play. So again, you can choose the level of risk and the level of return and how you want to play this. And that's why I love True DeFi so much. And it's why I talk about it all day long, and it's all I do, and it's what we do, and I can't help but share it on YouTube. So study up. There's mass potential. I have another video where we were exploring all the different opportunities within crypto in terms of in DeFi categories. I got a video on that as well. I think that video was, I believe it was this one. We were exploring different assets in different categories. But look, crypto was non-existent in 2020, barely. Just blew up with DEXs and lending and bridges and CDPs and derivatives. Synthetics was a really big narrative. And now we can see real-world assets. I'll move myself over here. You can see real-world assets starting to really pick up steam from 500 million to 6 billion. Lending is at 14 billion. You can make returns lending, liquid staking, which is an awesome opportunity. Like with liquid staking, you can stake an asset, you can get a token in return, and you can go create yield with that token. Lending, of course, DEXs is what we're playing in here. Bridges, CDPs, RWAs, services, yield derivatives, yield aggregators, which are level 3 plays in terms of our structuring for when we share stuff inside the, I'll show you one more thing. Let's come into the UIG, which I will leave a link for below. If you ever feel like being a member, you have access to all of our investor groups, our DeFi, our education, and our 6-figure DeFi challenge. One thing I want to bring to our awareness here is I'll go into here and I'll go into the 5 levels of risk in DeFi. And we have 5 levels of play. Level 1, wide or full range liquidity pools. Level 2, concentrated liquidity pools. Level 3, vaults, yield aggregators, yield optimizers. Level 3, level 4, newer audited trusted DEXs. You can sometimes double, triple your money there. And level 5 is new projects, high APYs, must be audited, but they're the highest risk. But you still have full access to your capital, and you can provide or remove liquidity at any moment. Everything after that, we call it a degen. If it's Ponzi-nomics, high APYs, unaudited, ROI style, gamble plays, centralized, where you have to have a username and password and log in for your daily income. Those are all treated as super high risk / degen plays, and we typically don't play with them, or they make up a very small percentage of our portfolio because they can be lucrative until they're not. And so we want to hedge against that. I hope this was helpful. Let me know what landed in the comments below. If you want more videos like this, please do let me know. I'll keep creating True DeFi stuff. I'll do whatever you want, whatever serves you. This YouTube channel is for you, and I get a lot of fulfillment creating videos for you. So do let me know what would serve you. Leave your questions or comments in the comments below. And with that said, I'll leave myself in the middle. I'll leave a link for the Underdog Investor Group here if you do want to check it out. And then I'll leave a link to the 3 videos we discussed. I'll leave a link to this video, and this video if you want to study correlations and correlated pairs. So I'll leave those up here for your viewing pleasure. And with that said, we'll talk soon. Peace.